Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court, July 2nd, 2019. Kevin, call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mitchell? Yes, sir. Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell? Here. Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes. At this time, Thomas Elbert, Divine Savior Lutheran Church, would you please come up and lead us in the invocation and the pledge?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like you to bow your heads. Heavenly Father, I agree with the voices of ancient times. The Lord makes poor, the Lord makes rich. He brings low, He lifts up. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the beggar from the ash heap, to set them among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and He has set the world upon them. Heavenly Father, You have visited us by the pillar of Your people, Jesus, Your Word made flesh. And many of the framers of our nation followed You in this hope. Forgive us our sins. Establish us among us the freedom from tyranny, and lead us in Christ's liberty. I'm humbled, Lord, by Your faithfulness to Bullitt County. For our marriages and our families, I pray, Lord, that they may be kept in Your love, respect, and honor. For our schools in this summer break, I pray that they may prepare to feed mind and spirit with Your truth. Refresh our teachers. For our churches, I pray that we may follow Your wisdom, that Your grace may prevail, and that You may build goodwill in our community. For our public works, I pray that our plans and programs would support our true needs as we grow. Help us to balance conservation and construction. For our community businesses, I pray that they may prosper, and that You would deliver us from greed and lust and the pride of life in both public and private sectors. For our public affairs and media, I pray that they might reflect Your truth in our society, privately expose our flaws, and to publicly encourage those activities that strengthen Your way among us. For our judges, our counselors, I pray that You would make us to be a people after Your own heart, that lives may be turned from perversion and wickedness. Assure us of due process, swift justice, and greater mercy. For our rehabilitation centers and our corrections, I pray that many may be delivered from the plagues of selfishness and addiction. I pray for our law enforcement and defenders. I pray that You would hinder lawlessness and continue to restore and uphold the integrity of Your sheriff's office. For our firefighters and first responders, I pray that You would keep them alert, protect them under the watchful care of Your angels, save the lives of many who are in peril and distress. For our military warriors and warfighters and their families who support them, I pray that You would guard and guide all who are in harm's way, and uphold the loved ones who await their return. For in the end, for our housing first endeavors, I pray for support and compassion to the homeless. For a new hope and a loving choice, I pray that You would rescue many from violence and encourage the lives of mothers, fathers, and little ones. For Judge Executive Summers, for all of our magistrates, for our support staff, and for this meeting, I pray that they may promote that which is good and right among us. For Yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory now and forever. Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Presentation and approval of all bills.
make a motion to approve all bills.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Rayhill, a second by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell to approve all bills. Kevin, call the roll.
Mr. Laswell? Or, excuse me, Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell? Yes. Judge Summers?
Yes, thank you. I need approval of the minutes for the regular meeting on June 18th, 2019.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion by First District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by Second District Magistrate Lofton. Kevin, call the roll.
Mr. Laswell.
Yes.
Mr. Rahale.
Yes.
Mr. Summers.
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell. Yes. Mr. Logston.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I need an approval for the special meeting on June 25th, which was the second reading of the 2019-20 budget for the Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting.
Second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Rahale, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell. Kevin, call the roll, please.
Mr. Rahale.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell. Yes. Mr. Logston.
Yes.
Mr. Laswell.
Yes.
Okay. We have a presentation by Sheriff Walt Scholler for Deputy of the Month.
If I may, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to point out to you the Deputy of the Month for May 2019 is Deputy Detective Tim Murphy. Let me tell you a little bit about Tim Murphy. Tim Murphy served in law enforcement at various and sundry organizations in the Commonwealth of Kentucky for the last 29 years. For the last 15 years, he served with several different narcotics units around the region. For the last 6 years, he's been with the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office and served as a narcotics detective. During the time that he's been with Bullitt County, he had the opportunity and did the work of a 2-year investigation wherein he investigated a person and thereby several other people that were transferring massive amounts of marijuana to Kentucky and Bullitt County from California on a regular basis. That in the month of April, that wound up being culminating with an arrest of that person after many hours and days of work, hard work, surveillance work that Detective Tim Murphy and the other elements of the Bullitt County Narcotics Unit did. They, on a particular night, they wound up having to follow from even out of state back into Kentucky and Bullitt County, that particular criminal who was utilizing U-Haul vans, vehicles that had been transformed to have hidden traps like in the beds of trucks and so forth. So after a great deal of hard work on this particular night, they got over 700 pounds of marijuana and several other significantly valued assets that were forfeited over to Bullitt County, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and federal agents, because they work in conjunction with the federal offices as well. And for that reason, Deputy Tim Murphy very much deserves the Deputy of the Month award for the month of May 2019, and I want to thank you for all the work that he's done. Again, I want to point out, the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office is not Walt Scholler's Sheriff's Office. It's the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office. And I serve as the director, as the sheriff of that office, but it's in conjunction and in partnership with the Bullitt Fiscal Court, who provides us significant funding. And if it weren't for the funding that the Bullitt County Fiscal Court does provide to help the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office with the law enforcement tasks that we have, we would not be able to do it. And I'm hoping and believe, they're committed, the court is, that we're going to take this sheriff's office to a world-class level of service to the people of this county. If you would,
Guess I'll get you right in the center.
there we go, Judge. Thank you so very much for all your hard work. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, our Deputy of the Month program is We are able to do that based upon the kindness and support of Stockyards Bank, who has helped provide the presentation award, and they do a lot of good work for us and at the sheriff's office and providing our banking needs, and they agreed to take and sponsor this award. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Scholler. And at this time, under new business, the first reading of ordinance 19-15, repealing ordinance 11-02 relating to the regular meeting time and place for the fiscal court of Bullitt County, Kentucky. Rob, please, sir.
Speak Commonwealth of Kentucky, Bullitt County, ordinance number 19-15, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 11-02 relating to the regular meeting time and place of the fiscal court of Bullitt County, Kentucky. Whereas the fiscal court of Bullitt County desires for its meetings to be conducted in the most effective and efficient time and place in accordance with state law. Whereas KRS 67.090 provides for the county judge executive made by an order of record to fix the dates for the commencement of the regular terms of fiscal court. Now therefore be ordained by the fiscal court of the county of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, Bullitt County ordinance number 11-02 is hereby repealed in its entirety. The reference made to ordinance numbers 11-02 in the Bullitt County Administrative Code shall be interpreted consistent with its repeal and with this ordinance. Section 2, the regular term of Bullitt County Fiscal Court shall be held at the county seat in accordance with KRS 67.0801. The date and time of the regular terms of fiscal court shall be set by an order of record by the Bullitt County Judge Executive pursuant to KRS 67.0902. Section 3, see section subdivision censor clause of ordinance be held unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, that such portion should be deemed as separate, distinct, and infinite provision, and such ordinance shall not affect the validity of the remaining course of this ordinance. Section 4, this ordinance takes effect on passage and publication. The first reading of regular meeting of the fiscal court of Bullitt County, Kentucky on the 2nd day of July 2019. Begin the second reading, public hearing, and vote upon a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 16th day of July 2019.
Thank you, Rob. Action item number 2, actions requested on the County Road Edge Cooperative Program Agreement and Resolution 19-208. If any magistrates have any comments or concerns about this agreement to capture it, and what this means is we give up 3% of our road money to put into emergency fund in case we need it statewide, and then we can relatively get back more money than that if we need it for a true emergency. Got a motion by First District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by Fourth District Magistrate Grayhill. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, Kevin, call the roll.
Mr. Mitchell? Yes. Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Carries.
Thank you. Action item number 3, a request on EMS fee change. If JR and Director Arden and Director, no, please come on.
Good morning. It won't take long here, but we have included in your packet the EMS fee adjustment. This was visited back in January of 2016, and our proposal now will put us fairly close in line to our neighbors, Nelson County and Hardin County. They are still exceeding us in some degree with some of these runs, but the average increase for our runs would be about $100 a run. Practically all that being shouldered by insurance companies. It should generate our best estimate is not a guess, but estimate based on past payments that we should be able to bring into the county to fiscal government about another $1 million a year, in addition to what we currently have. And JR, if there are any questions
Court subsidized a emergency management for the last 3 years to the tune of literally about 1.5 million annually. We're hoping to reduce this down to about 700,000 to where we can, as we continue to add ambulances, paramedics, you can see the improvement that we've made to our emergency management system, especially with our paramedics and EMTs and homegrown our own. This is a great step forward. We're still less than our neighboring communities, but the biggest disadvantage we have in this community is we don't have a hospital. If we had a hospital, we wouldn't, we would be better. But this is where we're at. It's about public safety, and it's about our emergency responders all the way around, from EMS to dispatch to the sheriff's department and fire departments. So at this time, if I hear no other discussion, Kevin, call the roll. Yes.
I was just letting the court or the people know, you know, they've been working on this tremendously. And they did the surrounding Harding, Nelson, Bullitt County, an average, just like an emergency run. Hardin County charges 1,000, Nelson's 975, we charge 700. So they got all of it together, so we're going from saying 700, we're going to 900. We're still going to be a couple $100 lower than our community, but increasing it slowly. So we're still below everybody in our area. And I appreciate you guys' hard work doing this. I know it's, getting to where we need to be, but I'm glad that, we're still low. To be honest with you, because I mean, getting it up, but, try not to take advantage of, our community in return, but making a good product for it. Thank you, guys.
And just kind of on that same note, I'm kind of addressing the court because I didn't know a lot of this until I stepped in this year. But I've seen a lot of comments throughout Facebook, and I've heard people talk in the community, we keep these meetings to about an hour. But the reality is there's a lot of hours and time put outside of these meetings where we've met individually with different department heads, and we've done research, and we wasn't just given this information this morning. So as a court, when we vote on this stuff, it's not just yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no, no. Everybody up here has done some research, or I know I can speak on my own behalf, that I looked at this very closely before I say yes or no. So, because I do know, and I have heard that there's not a lot of interaction sometimes, but quite frankly, if we're all doing our job up here, there should be a lot of interaction because we spent the time researching and doing this prior to this meeting. So I applaud what Joe had said. You guys really did dive down into the numbers, and in all categories that we're raising prices. I think literally every one of them, if I'm not mistaken, we're still less than what Nelson County charges for their services.
Yeah, I also want to say everything, I've been involved in the investor of Lincoln County. Back when really we didn't, it was very expensive, but things have really improved over the years. I've been involved with it since 1978. And I really have a real passion for EMS, I really do. And they have come a long, long way. And, this can't say enough, it needs to be said enough because they do a wonderful job. And when they hit that scene out there, they have no idea what they're hitting at times and everything. They may be exposed to every element of the world out there. They're out there. And I do really appreciate it for what they do. I want to say thank you publicly.
Thank you.
You need a motion on that?
Yes, if no other comments, we need a motion.
Over.
Second.
Got a motion from First District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by Second District Magistrate Lawson to approve the EMS fee change. Kevin, call the roll.
Mr. Lobson?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell? Yes. Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Mr. Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
There it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
At this time, the sign-in speakers, Pat Red. Morning, Pat.
Morning. I'm trying to get help with my road and my creek. I live on a creek bank, and this rain and winds and stuff is washing trees out, taking the trees out, and it's got log jams right above my creek, right above my bridge, that we have to take care of ourselves. We don't have no help with the bridge. It's fixing to take the bridge out. If we don't get some help with it, I have called every number that I've been able to get, trying to get some help with it. Corps of Engineers, the streams, numbers, I can't even get anybody to call me back. I did have one lady say that she would have somebody call me, but I waited, and recalled, and there's no help for it. Also, we're still waiting for, Jerry helped me not too long ago, but a little bit on the road. But we're desperate for help on the road. I'm getting too old to take care of it, and there's four of us, four properties back there, but we really need help with it.
And Pat, let us see what we can do. If you can call, you can either call or you can just tell us, can you take your address and we'll see what we can bounce out there and look at it and see what we can do.
Okay.
Okay?
It's Red Trail. It's off of Highway 44, about 9 miles out of Shepherdsville, right at the foot of Knob Creek Road.
It's in the first district.
Yeah, it's Dennis's district. I fuss him all the time.
Yeah, we understand the first and fourth district literally has needs the most attention to roads because it's still the most rural in Bullitt County.
But is it considered a private road or?
Well, we tried to get, no, it's not county, but they wasn't ready to take it in county, Dennis said. So, the homes I've got now have been there for 13 years and we've been maintaining the road. We know we're not going to get any help with the bridge and past the bridge, but the property to the right of it, nobody does anything. The man that owns it, I don't know who he is. And the trees are falling off of it, and it's causing water to wash across the road and take our gravel out as we put it in. And it's sinking now, and it's getting a pretty good sized dip in it. And the guy in the back takes care of it with his tractor as best he can, but I have no way of helping with it at all. So, sure would appreciate some help, and I put my address and phone number on that paper, so everything's there.
Let me say something here. She lives on a public road, it's not county maintained, but it is a public road. And I guess what I need to find out from John and everything is, if this is doing damage to the road there as far as the public area, can they pull those trees and everything back down, or anything to keep a portion of that road down? What's your take on that?
Are you talking about the county road?
Yeah.
Delaware County will be able to do it for the easement, to get on the property and to do the work. And then secondly, if it's going to benefit the public properties, we can legally use the manpower to get the trees out and then do the street work. But we cannot do it in private road as far as improving it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But what we're doing is, this will help the public and everything, keep the log jam and everything, from tearing the bridge out.
We'll have to get an easement, and if you give it the name of the property owner, the description, we'll prepare an easement for that person to sign, and when he does, it will be able to go in there with you.
Can you get with John and everything, where we can work up the easement and everything, where maybe they come in there and just maybe free the debris up and everything, where to keep tearing the bridge out?
Okay. We won't have any way of getting emergency vehicles or anything back there if we don't get it, if we lose that bridge.
Okay. Will you get with John where he can draw this easement up and everything, where we can get in there and everything, maybe get this debris out of the way, so it won't do the damage to the road, or the bridge?
Okay, I will. I'll just call you and make an appointment.
All county records, that's great.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Dennis, any comments?
No, sir, I'm good at that.
Sean? No. Joe?
No,
Mr. Ray Hill?
No, but I just want everybody to have a safe 4th of July and try to enjoy yourself.
Anything else? John?
Just we had talked about that the court was gonna make a decision, and I just don't want to leave my folks out of limbo as to where they're gonna be over dispatch.
Well, at this time, the dispatch is with the sheriff's department, and that's where, and for right now, that's where it's gonna stay. I mean, if the decision needs to be made today, then that's,
This has been up in the air now for several weeks, as I understood, and it's been out, and what I've got people here today, the acting director is Mr. Justin Warren. He's serving as acting director. I haven't taken steps to hire another director because I didn't know what the court's wishes were gonna be as to whether or not they wanted to have that remaining management control of the sheriff's office or whether some other law enforcement agency was gonna take it. I don't have any desire to have it, but I'm willing to take it to make sure that we keep Lincoln CIC, if no other law enforcement agency is prepared to take over management control of it. But I want to take and get it nailed down because if it's going to remain under the sheriff's office, I need to take and start taking steps to get a director hired so that we're not. Mr. Warren is continuing right now. He's serving as a dispatcher, but he's also got the task of doing the director's portion of it as well. And I don't think it's fair to him or the other folks over there for them to not know. If you've noticed, they've been here at the last 2 or 3 meetings because they're very, they wanted to find out who they're going to be working for. They're going to continue to work with the sheriff's office, or are they going to have somebody else? And so that's why I bring it up. And I was of the understanding that we were going to take and put this to bed by today.
okay.
Well, that was my understanding also and everything, well, because I've known you a long, long time, and I don't have any person against you whatsoever and everything. And I think you've done a fabulous job so far that you've been in there. But we had discussed this and everything some time ago and everything. And we even asked John Bullitt if he would take that reign and everything. And hadn't heard back from John on that and everything. And I understand that you could do it, John could do it. Any of the chief of police in the county, what have you and everything. And if you're not desired really to hold on to that and everything. I talked to a number of the dispatchers and everything, and they felt very good and comfortable if John would take it over. Now, I don't know where we stand right now, because this is kind of a shock to me that what we're hearing here right now.
Shock about what?
That my understanding was that the possibility that John was going to take this over.
I mean, I guess anything's possible. I don't know. I want to make it very clear. I'm more than happy to continue, but I don't want, I don't want somebody to think I'm trying to take in hordes and holding on to dispatch. I'm not. But it's imperative that a law enforcement agency have the management control of it, because as the state police came and told us, the FBI will not and the state police cannot allow a non-law enforcement agency, the fiscal court or EMS, to be the management and control over the personnel and the circle right there in the room. Other than that, it would suit me fine for anybody that you all wanted to have.
Okay, but I'm getting at, is it all right? I mean, John is, as a prosecutor and everything, he does fall under these guidelines and everything that we have, is my understanding.
That's my understanding as well, is that the Commonwealth attorney, the county attorney, the jail, the probation and parole, state probation and parole, they would, any police agency in the county, including the sheriff's office, qualify as a law enforcement agency that can have the management control over the personnel and otherwise. And so, as I say, I'll continue if you want me to. If you don't want me to, I'm happy to not. But I need somebody to take and let's nail it down today, because I don't want to continue on, and I need to get things done if I'm going to continue to do it. And because if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it I'm gonna see to it that we get an outstanding, director that's gonna be leading these folks over there and, understands that they work for the sheriff's office.
I'm kind of confused. Do you run it now?
I do run it now.
What's the difference in hiring somebody or not hiring somebody? Even if you hire a terrific guy and something changes, the terrific guy's still gonna be there, right?
They may not. I don't know.
That's what I don't understand is when you're doing something and you're controlling of something, it doesn't matter what's gonna happen tomorrow.
It does matter.
Well, I don't.
I've got it budgeted. I've got
Maybe you don't, but I do. I mean, the thing is I do, when I take a job on, I do the best I can until something changes.
And that's exactly what I'm doing.
Well, that's what it should be done. I mean, until something changes, which is not, I mean, I don't think anybody's made anything done. You know, I don't think there's anybody telling you what to do and what not to do, is it?
No, they have been. But
But
you know, here's,
keep running the same way. I mean, I would just keep going until someone give me a different directive to do. I would just say, I'm hiring me the best. I'm doing the best I can do with what I got right now. And if tomorrow changes, then we just direct that then. But right now, you're in control of it. Nobody's telling you what to do. So I will do the best I can until I got something else.
I assure you I will do that.
I know you do. That's where I'm confused at.
So here's the confusion that I've had. I went off to some training 1 week on the basic duties of the sheriff's office with DOCJT. I come back on a Friday and I'm told by my staff that they've heard from 3 people that the Bullitt Fiscal Court is taking dispatch over the following Tuesday at a meeting, the following fiscal court meeting. That didn't happen. I came and
So
I
what
asked.
did you do? Did you go talk to
I just
the judge?
Yes, I did.
What did he say?
And the judge said, well, Walt, we thought that you were all in favor of this and it was okay with you and that we were planning to do that. And I said, Judge, nobody's talked to me about it.
Okay.
I still haven't had a conversation with you until today about it. I haven't had a conversation with any individual magistrates, setting limits other than me pointing out to them that we cannot stand as a community to have anybody operate the Bullitt County dispatch system that is not a law enforcement agency because the FBI will not allow us to have LinkedIn CIC access over at dispatch, and it's imperative for officer safety. My deputies, every one of these police officers, police agencies in the county, they count on dispatch having that LinkedIn CIC. So I'm hearing out in the community that I'm fighting with the fiscal court over who's going to control it. I'm not fighting with anybody. I want to do what you all want me to. Well, I heard it. It doesn't matter whether you heard it, I heard it. And I'm not fighting with you. I like you, and I want to do what you want to do.
Well, I
And
didn't
if
think
you
it
want
was
someone
against
else
you.
to run it,
I was just asking a question about.
sure, it's not, and if somebody wants someone else to run it, and I'm tickled to death for them to do it, but I want to take a nail down, I'm either going to make plans for how I'm going to do it, and do it long-term, or I'd rather that you get somebody else to do it. And I was of the understanding, was told, we had a meeting with the state police here a couple of weeks ago, the judge was there, I don't think any of the magistrates were here, but they were invited. But we said then, and I said, Judge, can you take and get this nailed down so that we get the foot behind us come first meeting in July? He said, we can't. I was told yesterday that it would be resolved today. I just want it resolved.
Okay. I need a motion. I'm gonna make the motion to give dispatch to the sheriff's department in Bullitt County with the caveat that the employees still have the opportunity to fall under the same guidelines of appeal with our procedures and policies.
Judge, that won't work under the requirements and rules and regulations of the FBI and the Kentucky State Police. What they've advised, and they advised at that meeting, and Mr. Woolver is, I've asked him to look at it as well, and I presume he has, but what they require is that the employees of the dispatch be under the management control of a law enforcement agency that has the authority at that point to make terminations without having to get the approval of any other agencies. Now, anybody working under the sheriff's office, they're entitled to the protection of KRS 15520 and so forth with regard to that, but they can't be under the ability to file a grievance with the fiscal court, which the Bullitt County employees do have, but the sheriff's office employees do not have. They can't file a grievance with magistrates and then have a hearing before the fiscal court. And I wouldn't be in a position that I would go along with that because it would not be in compliance with the protocols and rules and regulations issued by the FBI with regard to Lincoln CIC or the Kentucky State Police administering that program for the FBI.
So technically, what I hear you saying is that any employee of the sheriff's department is not an employee of the county.
They are not under the direction of the county, and they are employees of the sheriff's office.
They are not an employee of the county, is that correct?
They are not an employee of the county fiscal court.
John?
Mr. Shoulder is correct. The fiscal court, probably 18 months ago, had many issues with the state police and dispatch. And at that point, that's the fiscal court determined that it would be in the best interest of all of the citizens that the police agencies and the sheriff's office should run that. And Sheriff Kendall agreed to do it. So the fiscal court at that point turned the operation of the center to the sheriff with the specific intent that the employees would be employees of the sheriff's department because there were issues with it. At that time, the language in the statutes was different than they are now. I think just as early as May or April this year, they've now changed the policy that instead of having a link board, which would have been chaired by you as the judge of Bullitt County and two other law enforcement personnel, in the past it was the sheriff and the county attorney's office, that has now been abolished, and now we have specific police agencies that have to run the dispatch. Now, they do not have to run the dispatch. The sheriff doesn't have to run it. I do not have to run it. Nobody has to run it. The county can do it. The problem is what Mr. Shoulder is telling you is that if an agency other than a police agency runs the dispatch center and has control over it, there will not be a link term. And that is the critical issue for law enforcement. They want that ability, and it comes with a price, and the price is who has to control it. We do not have the link access at this point. Mr. Shoulder, the sheriff, has been working, I think, trying to get policies in place to where that will come back to Bullitt County. We still do not have that. At this point, we have the ability to go through state police, and they're cooperating with the sheriff. They're not charging us yet, which could happen if we did some other type of situation. So, at this point, I agree with Mr. Rayhill, and hopefully Mr. Shoulder, Sheriff Shoulder, is not going to be upset, but I believe Sheriff Shoulder should do exactly what he has been doing, keep moving forward. I've looked at this, and the county attorney's office, we at this point are not in a position to pick up and manage an agency that is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, without significant changes. The budget that we have for the 911 center was and is the direct result of a resolution ordinance where you impose that fee. So that money comes to that particular agency. The sheriff turns it to the county, we're turning it back to the sheriff. Earlier this year, I advised Mr. Shoulder that I prefer him not to turn the money over to the county because we were going to follow right back. But, if the court directs that they're going to take it over, I would agree with Mr. Shoulder. It needs to be another law enforcement agency. Whether it's City of Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, Hillview, or a combination of those as an agency that's run. But at this point, it would be my advice to this report to leave the link and the 911 and the dispatch under the direction of the sheriff to move forward. If we had linked back and we didn't have all of the changes that are going on, I would think it would maybe be feasible, but it's not a good situation at this time for the fiscal court to basically remove it under all the circumstances that now exist. Now, getting back to your question, which I've chased my tail around, no, we cannot have an employee of the sheriff's office come to fiscal court and make a complaint. That's just not how it works. They do have procedures. They do have appeal rights. They have the right, as any employee of Bullitt County, if they don't like what the county did or the sheriff did, when it's all said and done, they have the right to walk over to the courthouse and they can file civil suits to redress their grievances and obtain what relief they believe they're entitled to. But they would not do it through fiscal court. They would do it through the Bullitt Circuit Court.
Okay.
If I may, Judge, one difference that I have, or want to make a statement about what Mr. Wilbur said. Bullitt County currently does have access to link NCIC, but it's only inquiry access. What we're working, and Ms. Erin Oliver with Kentucky State Police has lined out for us at that meeting is a plan for us to get entry access, full access back with link NCIC. And as to what Mr. Wilbur was alluding to, the state police have given some indication at any rate that they are going to, as the time goes by, start charging agencies that don't have full access for doing that work. Right now, when we want to enter some information about, say, a stolen car, we have to send it to the state police and they enter it. Before the fiscal court lost the license back in 2016, the Lincoln CIC license that was suspended, it was the Bullitt dispatch did have the ability to enter that as well. We don't have that right now. We've got a plan for getting it back, and we're working at implementing that, but one of the things that we need to do is get a director hired and have them start working hand in hand with the state police to get that. But we still do have inquiry access, and that's what's so important. Whether we have the entry access or not is not a particular concern to me as a sheriff, but having inquiry access is paramount. We have to have that so that when these officers are out there on the street at night, in the daytime, whenever, and they need dispatch to be able to run a license plate, or they need dispatch to be able to check on whether somebody has a warrant for dispatch, that dispatch has to be able to do it right now. Having to make a telephone call to the state police and ask them to do it, and as Ms. Oliver said, if the state police do it, they're going to look after the state police first, and if it takes minutes before they can get back to our dispatcher, it'll take minutes. And when seconds matter to these officers out here, seconds matter. So that's why I'm so adamant about making sure that we have dispatch run by law enforcement.
Thank you. Point well taken. Keith, let me ask you this: does all the funds from the general fund for the dispatch go straight to the sheriff's department in Bullitt?
It will, if you turn this over, there's roughly $5 million budget.
Right. And then that'll be the budget. Okay.
I will not take over, if you're talking about the $5 million budget that has to do with operating these towers and everything, that is not what I'm prepared to do.
That's our budget.
But what I am prepared to do is operate the management and control of the personnel. And that doesn't take $5 million.
No, it doesn't. And that has always been, since the sheriff's office took that over, that's always been transferred to the sheriff, which is what John's.
And the sheriff then sends it back over. I don't want the $5 million. All I want is I want enough funds to take care of the payroll and so forth of the dispatch.
That's the way it's worked since the sheriff's office took it.
If we continue to move forward like we are, how is the morale, is everything working smoothly right now and everything?
I'll ask Mr. Warren to address that. He's over there every day. He's my eyes and ears, and he's the manager of it over there right now.
The morale for the center, it hasn't improved or went down at all. Everybody's really concerned of who's going to leave right now for management purposes. Everyone's just very concerned and we don't have any direction where to go.
And Mr. Lawson, that goes to what I was talking about, Mr. Ray Hill. I'm used to living day to day. I've been practicing law for 38 years, and so not knowing what's going to be happening with what I'm doing tomorrow, I'm pretty used to it. These folks aren't. They deserve to know whether they're going to be under the sheriff's office or whether they're going to be under some other management control. That's why that's why I really, really want to put this to bed. Not for me. I sleep well every night no matter. But for these folks.
I know you put a motion on before you got a second on anything like that, but anyway, we can table this for 2 weeks and try to get these details worked out, one way or another. Right now, I cannot vote this way now, right now. I just can't do it. I can say, okay, 2 weeks from now, or the next meeting, but right now, I'm not comfortable with things right now. And I don't have things go, many, many years. We've always been determined, but I just feel comfortable with this right now.
If I may point out one thing, I'm leaving on the 11th day of July, and I won't be available at the next fiscal court meeting. I'll be having Colonel Latham. He's got my confidence to speak for mine, and he knows all the ins and outs of this, but I will not, as far as if we're going to take and be having any discussions, which nobody's done that with me yet other than the judge. We're going to be sitting down talking about stuff that needs to get done in the next few days to work out any details that you're talking about, Mr. Mitchell, and because if we wait until having a discussion about it at the next fiscal court meeting, I won't be here to have it.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. I've heard so much and everything, and talk to different points and everything, if you're out there on the street and everything, and you're talking to people, I get all the county. And I run into people everywhere and everything, and right now, morale is not real good over there. It's just not. So that's the reason that I had first talked to John myself and everything, he'd be willing to take this position over. We hadn't heard anything from him, or at least I hadn't heard anything anyway. So I'm not ready to make no decision on anything like this.
One other question I may have, if I may, Judge, ask Mr. Warren. Now, and I'm curious, is the morale improved from the day that you started the role of taking up running things after the last director left? Or is it worse, same?
It is the same as of right now.
Okay.
And this is real, it's an elephant in the room, it's really awkward. I mean, we're in a tough situation up here because, one of the things that's going on right now is there's been a concern from morale that's been presented to us as a court, and it's just kind of the elephant in the room, and it is what it is. My main concern and my vote would hinge 100% on the public safety of this community. I would not feel inclined to take over dispatch with the risk of losing NCIC. It was my understanding, I've talked to you on the phone in great detail about this. I've talked to Chief Pitcock and Mount Western, which is my district too. And it's my understanding, the concern is from both individuals I spoke with, including yourself, that it's not really concerned who has it or who has control. And I don't want to get in a game of control, but there's a lot of different things that come along with that, whether it's budget, payroll, a lot of personnel, hiring, firing. But the main concern that I have is to maintain that link NCIC and then work towards getting the full entry. However, we are concerned, I think I can probably speak on behalf of the court, is in the event, the only reason that I entertained the idea of the fiscal court taking this over was a concern of morale. And my concern would be, have you made preparations or are you prepared if certain individuals walk out? Because it's my understanding we're short-staffed right now as it is. is dispatch. So there has been a concern, without naming anybody individually, that if we maintain this path, can you fill those seats?
Well, here's what, and again, I need to take and ask Mr. Warren, because I'm not sure I'm told by Mr. Warren that the impasse with regard to the staffing has been largely cleared up. Is that correct, Mr. Warren?
We are solely relying on part-timers to fill the positions when they are vacant, yes.
Okay.
I currently have a dispatcher that will be out of medical, and it's probably up to 3 months. I found that out this morning.
Okay.
That's
so-
back down to minimum staffing on each shift of 3 dispatchers per shift.
How many part-time people have we taken on since Mr. Thompson left?
We've probably taken on 5, but only 3 are willing to work.
So the other 2 of 5 aren't willing to work, is that what I'm hearing you say? Why don't we take them on?
We've had several incidents where we've had to call people in, and they have just flat out said they're not willing to work, or they're unavailable due to the schedule.
All right, but that's the first I've heard of that. I thought, you and I spoke on Thursday, and I thought you told me that part-time people were resolving your issues.
Yes, the ones that we have called and are willing to work have been great. They either vacations, they filled in when people are sick or unable to come in.
Okay, and how many people have we hired since Mr. Thompson left? Full-time?
One.
Okay. And so you're down how many?
I believe it's 4 total, 1 on each shift.
Even after the hiring of 1? We were down 5?
Correct.
So how long had you been down 5 before Mr. Thompson left?
Extended period of time. I can give you exact numbers.
Months,
Yes.
since before January?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't think we need to really, I don't feel like it's interrogation by any means, but I don't think they can be put on the spot. But I think that's not really what they're here for. But I do have concern on moving forward. I just want to make sure that if we do nothing, that dispatch is taken care of. That's the #1 priority. I do not want to leave here today and somebody call 911 and there's a concern whether there's going to be somebody on the other end answer that phone. So I just want to be assured that before we leave here today, I didn't know that there was a deadline in place today or spoken to you. So by bringing that up, I don't feel comfortable leaving here until we feel warm and fuzzy that there's going to be somebody on the other end of the line. If that makes sense. I'm just concerned moving forward that we were working on this. I don't mean behind the scenes, there's no secret meetings, but there was talk behind the scenes about what needs to be done and what needs to be put in place. And for this to be presented in court today and kind of an ultimatum, I'm really afraid, based on what I know, that when we walk out of this meeting today, things may not be like they should be.
Mr. Larkin, I've got the same concern, and I didn't have it until just a few minutes ago, because I'm hearing different things, different places, and as far as, I think there is behind-the-scenes stuff going on, and I haven't been made privy of that behind-the-scenes stuff. So whatever we do from here forward, all I ask, and I don't care, I want dispatch, and I'm gonna do the very best I can with it if it's under my umbrella, but if folks think that it's going to be better elsewhere, take it. Take it. I don't want it. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And that's going to include that I'm going to be loyal to the staff over there, but I'm going to look for the staff to be loyal too. Now, but most important, these behind-the-scenes meetings that are occurring with folks that don't include me over staff that I have, that's got to stop.
So, Walt, Sheriff, are you willing to proceed until the next meeting, or until you get back, when you have time? I know there's a lot of vacations and a lot of times going on. Are you willing to proceed exactly what we're doing now? You just keep going like it's yours, everything's going on until
3 more meetings before
Sure,
you.
Joe. Mr. Ray Hill, rest assured, I'm gonna do the job when the sheriff agreed to take that over back in 2017. When I took office on January 7th, and throughout the campaign, I pointed out that I thought that it was a wise decision by the fiscal court to have the sheriff take operation control of it. I'm prepared to continue, but I'm prepared not. But until it's not under my responsibility, it is under my responsibility, and I will deal with it as best I can. Again, my concerns have not been for myself. You know, people ask me what caused you to lose sleep. I don't lose sleep. I cause other people to lose sleep. So, but as far as these folks out here, they seem concerned, and we need to get this resolved for their sake, not mine. Now, am I going to continue on if no decision is made today? Sure I am. I'll get up tomorrow morning, I'm going to do the same thing that I did yesterday and the day before that, which is my best. But if it needs to get resolved as soon as we can, and the only reason that I brought it up today is I was told that we would resolve it by today.
I know your words go. You know what I'm saying? I just want to let you know that. I mean, I respect you with everything. And that's why I'm asking. I want to make sure that, you know, and if you say it will be, I believe everybody out here is going to trust that word because they have no reason not to. So I will make a motion. Well, we wouldn't have to make a motion. I think we ought to table this until Mr. Scholler gets back from vacation and we can sit down and have meetings and try to figure out everything, what we have to do, what we don't do, what we can live with, what we can't live with. And that's just my suggestion.
All right, I'll second it, because I want more time. I want
Well,
more time.
You don't have a motion on the floor.
But if you guys would like to second.
wait just a minute, yeah. Well, there's no second on the motion, and to be clear on that motion, the sheriff's employees are not employees of fiscal court.
Right.
That's what I really want to be clear on here. So,
Well, that's not, I mean, sorry, but we don't have control.
no, and it's really important, Joe, because when you look at the dynamics that change,
I agree.
okay?
I totally agree. I'd like to have control of everything.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
it's not.
Not control, but I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us that can make a decision. And I understand the dispatchers, they went from being able to come back to court with their case. And that's a great thing for anybody. You know, if someone's gonna take away,
There you go.
take away my ability, and like you said, he can go to court, do whatever, but I understand, I want every employee to be under a certain blanket where they have a right to stand up and to do what they're supposed to.
Yeah, but it's only for the
But
deputies.
with what the legislation has done to us,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying done to us, but they took away the right for us to have that legal service as a court. And they give it to law enforcement, which makes a lot of sense. Because they're a law enforcement. You know, I don't need to call them up and ask what, you know, license plate number is. But what
You
we're,
know, if Sheriff Scholler is expecting a decision today, I'm gonna make the motion. And you can vote, you can second it, or whatever you wanna do with it, to be able to get a dispatch to the sheriff's office starting today, and I'm gonna make that motion.
Tell me that motion again. You're making the motion, how are you making this motion?
To give the sheriff's office dispatch today for the resolution of the employees to know which direction they need to go. Because that's the motion. Y'all can let it die, or you can let it sit. It's up to y'all.
I'll second that motion, and I'll tell you why. I do have confidence in Sheriff Scholler, and I feel like that this has been talked about for a while. Good or bad, there's been discussions about the fiscal court taking this over. I feel like we, as a court, had opportunity to find a law enforcement agency, although there's been discussions behind the scenes, not behind the scenes, but meetings, I'm concerned about the safety of this community, I really am. I got confidence in you as a sheriff, but, to fill those spots, if there's some spots open, but, the morale was a major concern, and it's one of the main reasons that I was open to looking at the fiscal court taking this over, especially after hearing that you didn't care if you had it or not, or Sheriff Pitt, or, you know, Chief Pitcock not caring who had it. But I'm concerned about the safety, I really am.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with this thing right now. I want some more time on this. I'm not saying later I won't vote that way, but right now I'm not gonna vote for it. I just don't feel comfortable with things right now.
It's okay. Any other comments?
Even with making this motion, something could always be changed later.
Yep.
So, I mean, the discussion with finance, I mean, it should be a contract, he don't want the tires, he just wants the car. Is there something that we need to draw up into a contract, or the dispatch money that the taxpayers are paying through there, it comes into one account, and it can't be used for anything else.
Right.
So how are we gonna separate that? Is just word of mouth, or should it be a contract, or how do we determine who does the tires, who does everything else? If they dispatch, the monies that we get is in one package. And Walt says he doesn't want to do the tires, who's gonna do that? And he's gonna take care of it. Is our emergency services gentleman taking over the tires and giving him the money over there? So that's the logistics I was wanting to talk about. So that's my, I can't vote on something that's up in the air.
We can discuss that later, anything can be changed at a later time, is that correct, John?
It can, but as it stands right now, Mr. Shoulder is not over the tires, he's not over anything, always at the dispatch center. And it's segregated into the budget, and the 911 fee is specific, and has to be used within that dispatch center, not for any other purposes. So, everything that the court is doing, Judge Summers has made a motion to do that, it's already been done, so it's basically a repeat of what's been done.
Right. Something can be changed later at any time.
Anytime.
And that's my main concern now, is the safety of this community, and if I put myself in your shoes, whether you're for, whether you're against the direction of your sheriff's department, I want to know where I stand. And every week that passes, I just know the future of my job, that uncertainty would probably hang over my shoulders and weigh heavily on me, so I second the motion.
Kevin, call roll.
Mr. Laswell?
No.
Mr. Ray Hill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
No.
Mr. Lobster?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
Dennis, what time is it?
Let's just keep going.
I'm gonna make a motion to dismiss court. I need a second. Got a second by Joe, is that you? Ray Hill, Kevin, call roll.
Mr. Ray Hill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobster?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carries.